welcome to another Veterans Network podcast. I am your host, Jamie Kennedy, co-founder of Veterans Network. Firstly, I have to apologise for the background noise of cars driving past, as we recorded this podcast from our office, which is located next to the main road. However, the show will go on. This is the last Veterans Network podcast of 2017, and what a special episode it really is, as we speak with Ben O'Tool from KitPest. Ben tells us how KitPest isn't just a group of alley kit geeks, but KitPest is also highlighting so much talent and positivity in the veteran community. Let's crack on and talk with Ben of KitPest. I've been a part of KitPest now. I say been part of, I've been welcomed onto your website to publish blogs and that for a while now. I've not actually had the chance to speak to you, so this is a first for me.
Excellent, yeah. I've been really loving the content that's been going out. So it's been good to go. I love the podcast. I spend a lot of time in the car, so I've been smashing into podcasts, and there's been loads of vet podcasts coming out of the States for ages. So it's good to get something that's homegrown.
Yeah, I've noticed that myself as well. There's quite a lot of it coming out of the States, and like you say, it's nice to have it from a British perspective for once, eh?
Yeah, it's very, very different. The two sets of veteran communities have got very, very different ethos.
Yeah, I think they also have like a different transitional system as well. You know, from leaving the armed forces and going into Civvy Street, they've got different support networks, different benefits, and so I guess there's differences all around there.
Well, the big thing they've got that we don't is the GI Bill, of course. So they can get university paid for, and they have to be given a place. I think as well, if a veteran applies for a job over there, they have to be given an interview.
Oh, that's interesting. See, that's something I never even knew. So you've just enlightened me there, and I'm sure you've enlightened many others. So, Ben, tell me about yourself, mate. As far as I'm aware, you're no longer serving, but who did you serve with?
I'm one of the smelly veterans that's out there now. I've been out a while now, probably 5 or 6 years, maybe a bit more. I kind of struggle to keep track sometimes. I started my regular career in 2000, I think it was. That's when I started Sandhurst. Had a couple of bumps in the road with breaking bits of myself along the way, and finally left there in 2002. And then I did 10 years reg as a medical support officer, and got to the point where it was, I'm now young enough to do something else, and without it looking a bit weird, that I kind of jumped out of a career stream, and young enough also to try for a new career stream. So I left, I did the obvious, and started working for a security company, and I was doing an intelligence job, concentrating on Iraq and Afghanistan. And then I left that because I was headhunted into a company in the city that works to the insurance industry, and what we used to do was jump in when things went horribly wrong for companies. So things like oil workers being kidnapped, ships being taken. We did an absolute ton of evacuations out of Syria when that started kicking off. Arab Spring, of course, was a very busy time. We've had 300 miners out of Mali when they had a coup. I did that for a while, and then I got absolutely burned out because it was just, non-stop with the phone ringing all the time and have to jump onto someone's misery. So I took a year out, and I went and volunteered at a primary school round the corner as a teaching assistant. And then after a while of doing that, I started up a crisis management consultancy, which is kind of what I'm doing now. But I've also, along the way, had a martial arts school. And so, I like to keep myself busy. I always say I'm still trying to work out what I want to do when I grow up.
I think we all are, mate. No, I mean, I don't think anyone knows what they really want to do, and I don't think you always get a say in the matter. But it sounds like you've been more operational since being out the armed forces.
Yeah. I mean, I was in it at a really funny time because the army I joined was right. Well, the Cold War's over. What are we going to do now? Who's the enemy? It was a case of, well, every few years there'll be a Bosnia tour comes up, and fingers crossed it's a summer tour because then it's quite pleasant. And you might go to Northern Ireland, but that was all on the close down. And then I think it was while I was in my second term at Sandhurst, we had 9/11. And I'll always remember it because we've been out on double drill, which is always a joy, especially when your colour sergeant's from the parachute regiment and he used to march us off round the corner so no one could see us because he always used to give commands on the wrong foot and stuff. Paras, they love drill, right? And we'd come in for a break, and one of the lads had the TV on in his room, and he just shouted, "You've got to get in here!" So we all went piling in, and we were all there just in time to watch the second plane go in live.
Wow.
And it just, I always thought, that's the time when everything changed. So it all got a bit exciting. All rumour mills started kicking off. But then there were some regiments were calling forward anyone that was on their books as going to be going to them. And so can we have them now? Because we're short platoon commanders and people we can use for watchkeepers and that. And then of course, they sent the booties into Afghan. And it all went quiet right up until obviously we invaded Iraq.
Cool. So you were in the thick of it then. You was in what I like to call sort of the hot time of it when it was all really kicking off.
Yeah, I think. I didn't actually go into Iraq on the invasion. We were the reserve squadron that was left behind, and we went in on Telic 2. And just immediately after the war fighting was finished, and then I went in again on Telic 4 with a field hospital, and that was quite busy, quite a busy time. So, but I always say that those early Iraq days were nothing like what the lads did out in Afghan. I certainly did. I did more time in shitty places after I left the army than I did when I was in, to be fair.
Yeah, it sounds like you did actually. But then don't play it down because I know a lot of guys. I mean, I caught the back end of Iraq, and it was very much in the handing over stages. But the guys that were my seniors who took me under their wing, they've all done the Telic 4 and Telic 8. So, to me it sounds quite horrendous. I mean, what they had there was mortar incoming, and we didn't quite have that in Afghan. It's a more kinetic firefighting and that. But I'd much rather go for firefighting and more incoming mortars. But look, mate, I connected with you through KitPest. Now, I'm not exactly. I mean, even though I've been with you guys for a little while now, and I've been watching your website and blogging on a certain section on there. I'm still not quite with it. So I know it's for what I would like to call kit geeks, guys that are still currently serving, and maybe guys that are in the circuit. But I wonder if you can just explain to maybe those who are listening now who may have not heard of KitPest, or they might be like me, they've heard of it but still not quite sure exactly what it is. What is KitPest?
Well, it's something that's just kind of created itself in a way. So what it is, there's that bloke in your unit, and he's the one that he doesn't wear issue kit. He always goes out and he buys this, and he's got 900 pouches and these sexy boots, and he's had all these mods made to his smock, and he's he's got the proper boot, the proper belt kit that has been made by the same people that do gigs for Hereford and all that kind of thing. Well, that's me. And that's the rest of the KitPest lads. We've got an unhealthy fascination with the kit and the gear. But at the end of the day, what Big Lizzie gives us is good enough to do the job. And troops will always go out and they'll spend some hard-earned coin on kit. And there's a lot of absolutely fantastic stuff out there. But there's also an awful lot of absolutely horrendous shite out there, especially since airsoft became as popular as it has been. And so the way KitPest came about was we sort of, one of the lads started up a sales platform for guys to buy and sell decent kit to each other.
That's
rather than having to go through eBay and maybe getting scammed with some knockoff stuff, or being charged really high fees. So he started up the Gen Kit Exchange, and only allowing decent quality kit on that. So what span off of that was a group. Some of us were on a Facebook page called Cooper's Kit Corner, which is where all the proper kit nerds hang out, and also some very other exciting people who I'll tell you about in a wee bit. And we started kind of reviewing bits of kit that we had on a blog that was quite decent, that we thought was pretty good, and saying why we thought it was good, or some stuff we got that turned out to be really howling as well. And despite the fact that we're geeky blokes, and despite the fact, all right, I was a medic, I went out on the circuit, but we've got, serving infanteers, we've got senior ranks as well amongst the pests, people who know what they're talking about, guys that are toured up. So it's kind of, you've got bits and pieces of kit that have been road tested by people who know what they're talking about. So we were doing this on this little blog, and it started getting more and more attention. So then we started writing a few little articles about things as well. I mean, there's a really good one about the whole concept of fight light, and rethinking carrying the 900 kilos of kit that we all always used to carry. There's stuff about if you're choosing articles about if you're choosing a pair of boots for yourself, what you should be looking for, to make sure you don't end up with something that's just going to be howling at the end of the day. So after a while, we took the option to go and create a full-time website to do this kind of reviewing stuff. So we bumped into another lad along the way who runs a company called Oscarby, and they specialise in doing websites. They do a really good package for vets where they'll do you just like a quick 1-2 page website at a very reasonable price to get you going, kind of thing. So Dean from there built us the KitPest website. And it's kind of grown a bit more because we then started having a bit of a vision for it, if you like. So we were looking at a lot of the American stuff that's going on, and we're looking at the British veteran community. And I think one of the things you find in the serving and the veteran community is, because of our black sense of humour, it can sometimes be a bit nihilistic. So I absolutely love Fill Your Boots. Yeah, Alfie has me rolling on the floor, but it's seldom got good news on it. And so what we wanted to do was take a look at what's out there with the serving and the veteran communities, and say, do you know what, there's some really positive stuff here, let's start shouting about it. So this is where we bumped along with you. And one of the things we've got on this group, Cooper's Kit Corner, is there's a bunch of guys that are making kit, and they're doing some really, really innovative stuff that's outstripping some of the big commercial companies, and certainly outstripping some of the big names that are, have in the UK. Like, a lot of guys will go to JJ's. Well, there's people on there that are doing stuff like, people are doing stuff with laser cut laminates, really lightweight and strong materials that's just not going to let you down. And that's been quite fantastic to see that innovation coming out of the veteran community. And then there's all the other positive stuff we're picking up on as well. I mean, there's a couple of really, there's a great charity that I really like. It's called Vets for Wildlife, for example. And what they're doing is they're getting veterans with the relevant skills, and they're fundraising to send these guys to go out to Africa and train rangers in skills that are going to help them with anti-poaching. So whether it's infanteers teaching them patrolling, or medics going out there and teaching them combat care in the field, that kind of thing. And then you've got, there's people like, there's two lads, check them out on Facebook, it's called Ex-Bed Orange. A couple of ex-bootnecks who are going out and they're going to walk 2,200 kilometres, unsupported, unaided, the length of the Orange River in Africa to raise money for the Royal Marines charity and for Vets for Wildlife. So we thought, well, we've got a platform, let's really start shouting about this positivity that there is in the veteran community. So that's kind of where it all grew from.
I like it. I like how it, for once we're seeing some positivity injected into the veteran community, and then having that with obviously social media these days, you can spread that amongst the civilian population. And it's kind of like a reassurance that there's a lot of stuff with veterans. There's lots of mental health issues. There's unemployability. There's homeless veterans. But it's good to see. It's all issues that are valid and that needs addressing. Don't get me wrong. But I sort of feel like veterans has a tarnished dark cloud over it, based on them things. That's not everything about veterans. There's also positive things coming from veterans. So there's veteran-owned businesses. There's guys doing extraordinary things, going across miles of ground like your guys there, to raise money for charities and whatnot. And there's just so much more positivity. One of these days I'll learn to speak. And I think it's great that you're out there shouting about it. Going back to the guys who actually making their own kit, are these just like guys that are literally in the block putting this kit together on their own initiative, or is it?
Yeah,
are they businesses?
They absolutely are. Some of them are doing it. I mean, there's a course you can do that you can get through the system. It's called the Unit Repairers course. And it's kind of like, if you are a kit pest, it's the holy grail of courses to get on, because then you can start, making your own stuff. And it teaches all the heavy-duty stitching and the sewing machines and all the stuff that you need to know to get you started on it. But then there's some of these guys are taking it, just a step further. And I think it all really started with the Army Rumour Service website, the old ARSE website, probably a good 10 years ago now. And there were some people on there, most notably a bloke called Boris. Boris he's an ex-guardsman, and he was a firefighter at the time. And I think he's jacked that in to make kit full-time now. But the kit he was turning out was of such a high standard and was so different from what the issue-tissue stuff was. I mean, anyone that's tried to use issue belt kit with Osprey, will tell you the hurt of where we've never quite made it, or, the ammo pouches you get given that are not quite the right size and shape to actually hold a magazine in, or anything useful, in fact. And, in fact, all they do for you is give you a load of secondary fragmentation if you get blown up. So it's sort of stepping away from the kind of thing that's produced by the lowest bidder. And, he got such, and I think as well he got a lot of attention from the gentlemen with the big moustaches that like to kick indoors and all of that kind of thing, and did a lot of good work for them. And he kind of led the charge with it. And there's always been a big sort of back community on that. There was a website, it was a Yank website, where there was lots of people sharing ideas about it all. That kind of died away. But then there's this new wave that have now come through, and especially with the change in technology and the change in materials, they've really embraced it more than other people. So you've got people like Ed Lamb at Flimmer Tactical, you've got people like Dave Stewart at British Tactical as well, are turning out some really exciting stuff that's incredibly innovative. We've got this stuff it's been cut by laser. It's a laminated camouflage fabric, so it's really, really strong. It's not going to start fraying at the edges. It's really, really lightweight as well, which is fantastic because we're doing everything in body armour these days. It's very exciting to see this stuff pushing out there.
So there's all you guys sort of centralising on KitPest, and there's a lot of talent within KitPest, obviously pushing this sort of kit out. My idea just popped to my head there is, if you guys are centralising on a social media platform such as KitPest, then is there scope for you guys to get together and then put sort of innovative kit out there en masse? If you all get together and really push this forward to create your own sort of company.
Yes and no. I mean, we've all got day jobs still. In terms of the KitPest lads, I mean, one of the guys, gorgeous Jim Shoebridge, got to give him a shout out there. He's one of the pests. I'm not entirely sure why I've decided to call him gorgeous Jim, but you know, the shoe fits, and he's never complained. But he's had a lot of input into some of the stuff that's come out from British Tactical, from a field point of view. And I think a lot of stuff as well has been driven by guys' needs. So they found that something they've got doesn't quite do the job, and they want something better. So they've actually gone and asked someone to make something bespoke for them.
Got you.
But you know what it's like. I mean, the MOD wheels grind slowly.
Yeah.
I'm amazed we've got to the point where we have got to with the kit, and there is some good stuff getting bought. But there's still an awful lot of utter crap out there. Especially
with funding as well, right? It's
Well, this is it, and a lot of it, I think they're being taken for a ride on. I mean, it's this bizarre thing you've got with defence procurement. It's like, congratulations, you spent the last 15 to 17 years honing your skills as an infantry commander. Now go and negotiate a contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, you've just got entirely the wrong people doing the job. They don't have the experience and that. And so that's why you end up with these shocking contracts, like the resettlement contract, where there doesn't seem to be any kind of KPIs that they can be held accountable to and smashed with. I mean, you just got to see, what was it, Sell Your Boots pushed out the other day, 150 quid to change 5 light bulbs. Some lad's been charged.
Unbelievable.
Which is, that's hit the national media. And, Fill Your Boots. Alfie's really great because he tries to engage with these people and actually get an answer at them as why they're so poor. And they're just fobbing him off.
Yeah.
But of course, there's nowhere one seems to be in the chain of command. And I talk that all the way up to Whitehall, to actually grab this problem by the nuts and say, this is not good enough. Let's put an end to it. Let's get it done properly.
Especially when you've got blokes within KitPest that are pushing this kit out there. I know it's not on like a mass scale, but it's like you say, on a bespoke, on a request scale.
These producers aren't KitPest. These are just guys that are just doing it off their own bat.
That's what I mean.
One lady's a medical student. There's another guy. There's 2 or 3 that I can think of that are still serving and are just doing it in the block of an evening.
That's passion. That's either real kit geeks.
It's also beer tokens.
Yeah. So what's the future for KitPest?
Well, the future is to grow. I really want to try and broaden what we're giving to people. I want to be this one-stop shop. So look, I'm now. I hate to say the word, but I'm now a civilian. But I sit there. I'm not quite as svelte as I used to be. I'm not exactly a fat bastard, but you can tell I like my cakes.
You're getting there.
But getting back into that, having a healthy lifestyle, being fit. What can you do? You don't want to go out and have a gym membership because it costs you a load of money. So we want to get people on board that can give us workouts, stuff you can do at home, give advice about nutrition, that kind of thing. It's some recipes you can try out even, or adventures you can do to actually make the most of your life. Look, here's where you can go away for a weekend and have an adventure. This is what I did about it. I'm doing something insane for charity. Let's shout about what it is I'm doing and get the word out there. No one's going to look after us. We've got to look after each other.
Exactly. That's where I see it.
And if we can be a little bit of a window, or a platform where we can highlight that positivity in the veteran community, in the veteran and the serving soldier community. If peacetime army it absolutely sucks to be in garrison. It's awful, you know. Everyone gets away from your soldier skills being important. It's all about, have you got creases in the right place, how shiny your boots, and have you parked in someone else's space and all this nonsense, because quite frankly no one's got anything more important to worry about, and you know, they've got to get that tick in the box on the O jar or the S jar, you know. And it's keeping that positivity in people's lives and keeping them motivated, especially when, you know, you've got threats and more defence cuts hanging over your head.
There's so much more to KitPest, isn't there, than just Kit Geeks?
It is. I mean, that's where it started, but then it kind of, like I say, it kind of ran away with itself.
Yeah, and it's good. That obviously means there is a need for it to some extent.
Yeah, and there's some absolutely mega people and massively inspirational people out in the veteran community. You know, people like Foxy, who's quite happy to openly talk about his PTSD. You've got people like Chantel Taylor, you know, wrote the book Battle Worn about her experiences as a medic out in Iraq. She's a talking head for lots of news channels, and she's also a regular on the Global Recon podcast. You've got people like Cy Harmer. He's another ex-medic, lost his legs in Afghanistan. You know, he's hand-biked from coast to coast in the States, and he's been an Invictus athlete. There's some absolutely incredible people out there that have just not let shit drag them down and can absolutely inspire the people coming up behind them, and that's what we want to capture.
Yeah. Like a big inspiration at the moment, I feel, is who I've been following closely on social media, is that Mark Ormwood, who's an ex-Royal Marine Commando, triple amputee, and he is just banging out some pretty impressive mega things coming out his way. He's obviously just done Invictus Games, smashed that, and now he's on the verge of pushing out some new, I think he's called it the Veterans Channel, which is like a YouTube for veterans. And this I tell you, Mark, I doubt Mark will be listening to this right now, but he's I hope he just keeps up the great work he's doing, because he's just smashing it. And it, like, you know, it's just a true example there of the term fight through.
And there's the other things where people are doing it in the background that you're just not hearing about. So we found out recently there's a army surplus shop that's owned by a guy, I think he's in 3 PWRR, and he's literally on Monday opened up the shop and said, anyone knows any homeless people in Folkestone, send them my way. And he's given them basically a black bag with a DOS bag, new boots, warm kit, scoff, cooking equipment. The guy's done $3,000 worth of kit out of his pocket to the homeless.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's phenomenal, and there's people out there that are doing great stuff like this, but you know, we're not getting out there. It's very easy to see veterans as being like, well, we don't want them to come work in our workspace because they're just all going to shout at us and tell us off, or they're going to be borderline psychotic because they've got PTSD and they're just, you know, a pen dropping on the floor away from a killing spree. You know, we've got this really poor image in society, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you know, if we can shout about all the good stuff that we're doing, that's going to change that.
I agree, and I think it's getting better though. I think in the last 2 years, it's definitely taking steps in the right direction now, and veterans are learning to use social media, and they're using it to their advantage of doing exactly that, with shouting about it and clarifying a few things or two, just clearing the air a little bit and explaining exactly what they're suffering with PTSD and what that entails, and I think the civilian community are kind of interacting with that a little bit more because it's in their face, and they can see it on social media. So it's taking steps in the right direction, slow and steady, but it is getting there. Yeah. Well, Ben, honestly, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Now, I am going to jump in here. I do want to do a shameless plug.
Go for it.
Because we've got a competition running on the KitPest Facebook page at the moment. We've had all of these companies that I've been talking about. We've had an absolute mob of them have donated prizes for this draw. I mean, we go through the list there. There's absolute tons and tons of really good kit.
Shout them out, man. Shout them out.
Shout them out. Well, we've got... let me go. I've got the box out in front of me. We've got Boris has chucked in one of his radio pouches. We've got a load of Magpul magazine pulls. We've got Hussar Tactical, who've let us have a rigger belt. We've got Tactical Tea, has given us some of their World War II brew. We've got pouches and beer cozies from British Tactical in all sorts of mad camouflage patterns like Multicam Tropic and Multicam Black. We've got Contact Coffee, have given us Shots Fired and Battle Prep Coffee. Also some of their battle bags, which are like coffee bags, so you can take them out in the field. We've got Breach Tool, have given us a breach tool, which is for cleaning all those bits on your weapon you just can't get into. We've got FRV Tailoring, have given us a rifle sling and a tourniquet holder. We've got Flimmer Tactical, have given us a padded cover for your Peltors and some laser cut patches. We've got Bortac, have given us one of their AeroPress pouches. Fill Your Boots mug. We've got a KitPest mug, of course. We've got Reaper 17, have given us T-shirts and patches and stickers. We've got Marion Tactical, who've given us an embroidered beanie. And we've got more stuff inbound as well.
Mega.
We've got another company, and I'm going to apologise profusely because I've completely forgotten the name of it. Military Frames. I think they're at Military Frames on Facebook, and they're doing. They'll do you a bespoke oath of allegiance with your regimental cap badge on it, and your attestation date and where you swore your oath. Big framed piece that goes on your wall, looks really cool. So we've got all of this kind of stuff. So what we've done is we've got all of this together, and it's up for grabs.
And what do we have to do to win it, man?
You've got to come on the site, and you just got to just follow the instructions, which I think it's a like, it's a share, tag a couple of mates, and make an appropriate comment on the thread. And we're going to draw it live on Christmas Eve. But the aim of this is to just shout about these guys that are out there that have all these fantastic brands in the background. Stoic Conditioning, that's another one that we've got on there. They've given us a hat. They do training plans for blokes. So whether you're a fat knacker like me, or you're ramping up for P Company or the Commando course, they'll do you a training program for it and get you in shape for it. And it's all you need is like a set of dumbbells, so you don't need a load of kit for it, that kind of thing. So we want to shout about all these people, and this is an opportunity to do it. And it's gone really well. We've gone all around the world with it. We've got a good. We're over 600 entries now, and heading towards 700. We've got 1,000 extra people on the Facebook page. It's gone out through other similar kind of groups to us over in the States as well. So we're putting these British companies on the map.
Good. It's a huge influential network of veteran businesses there, and just veteran individuals. Mate, cracking effort. Brilliant effort.
Very much. To be honest, it's fun. It's a laugh. It's good fun. We get our weekly review out, and it's always good. There's a lot of banter between the blokes. We've got I've had to put my phone on silent because we've got a chat group for the KitPest, and it has just been bouncing the whole time we've been on here.
Awesome.
With stuff going backwards and forwards. It's been it's absolutely brilliant, and it's just great to see all of this along the way.
Brilliant, mate, and I fully support it. I know, speaking, that's me individually and as Veterans Network, we're fully behind it, mate. Keep up the great work, and if there's any way we can help at all, by all means, let us know, and we'll push it out there for you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, mate.
Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for talking with me tonight.
Brilliant. No, thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a bit of a shout about what it is that KitPest does.
That was Ben O'Tool from KitPest. And it is safe to say, although there are lots of issues still outstanding within the veteran community, such as homelessness, employment, mental health, There is in fact just as much positivity in the veteran community, and I personally feel we are moving forward. 2016 and 2017 has certainly been an incredible journey for Veterans Network and for those veterans who have been a part of our community from the beginning. As the year comes to an end, we're ready to punch through to 2018. We appreciate your loyal support throughout, and we look forward to sharing some exciting things with you in the new year. Merry Christmas from us at Veterans Network, and we wish you all a Happy New Year.